All right, any questions? Chapter 1, pretty easy chapter 1, huh? It's like, it's okay. This class is so easy. No questions? Did anybody read chapter 1? No? You read it? Man, you're a superstar.
To submit the homework for the binary date, you said SLA format.
No, I misspelled that. Where did I say that? Did I say that here or did I write it on the board?
Inside.
Okay, I'll change that. We established that last session. That it's MLA format.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know what that is either.
Well, if you Google it, you'll see. But I put an example on there of how I want it to look like. And it's mainly because I just want to be able to grade your document accordingly. And it can get a little confusing trying to grade 40 papers, 35 papers. Yeah. At the same time, so if you make sure that you give me that format, then I'll make sure to give you the proper credit for your work. Okay. Anything else? Questions? Yeah. So, has anybody made an attempt to take the quiz online? Okay. How did that work for you? Get a good score?
Still having trouble logging into the internet for some reason.
Did you go to Batmail 301?
No, I didn't do that.
Okay. Yes. Finally.
I found that if you read chapter 1, you should ace the quiz except for one question.
Which is?
The CCIE one requiring a lab. The book doesn't say that CCIE requires a lab portion for testing.
Okay. Okay.
I don't think it did.
You may not have, yeah. Some of those Cisco certifications are not that easy. You know, only a few people in the world have some of the upper rank Cisco certifications. You'll remember the guy that got put in jail because he put some passwords in some switches and routers and other networking devices for the city of San Francisco.
Yeah.
Huh?
What did he do?
He changed some of the. He was the administrator for the city of San Francisco.
He was in jail and they were trying to get the codes out of him.
That's right. And actually, well, what happened is that he secured the system so well that you know. In a way, you know, he may have done it because he wanted to secure his job, but if he was the only guy who knew how to do it, you know, he put passwords in a whole bunch of equipment that is used to manage the city of San Francisco. And this guy has one of the most, you know, highest ranked Cisco certifications, you know, that only maybe 150 people in the world have.
Wow.
You know, and so he's very good at what he does, but when he was asked to provide passwords for these devices, he refused to, you know, because he felt that if he gave these passwords, then the security of the network would be at stake and compromised, right? So you know, people. There's a lot of politics, you know, the managers and supervisors, they plotted to put him in jail, basically. You know, they put him in jail for...
Put him in jail because he wouldn't give him the passwords.
Right, because he wouldn't give him the passwords.
Waterboard.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
So, wait,
Take him to Guantanamo.
I think they just fired him.
how long did he get? How long did he get?
Fired
Oh, I think he got 4 years in jail. 4 years.
4
in the
years?
end, right? But it was
Oh,
it was a long battle. You know, I mean, he ultimately gave the passwords to the mayor of San Francisco.
Well, that's not job security if you're in jail.
It's not, but you know, it's hard to tell. You know what he was thinking. But I'll tell you something based on experience. You know that when you manage a network, you become part of the network. You know, it becomes your network, and it gets personal when somebody breaches your network.
Yeah, I'm sure even you would know that your supervisor asks for a password, you give it to him.
Yeah, but at the same time, you know, I would question why. You know, I would want answers. I mean, why do you want it? You know, I mean, I may not necessarily. You may be my supervisor, but I may not necessarily trust you with knowing what you're doing when it comes to technical stuff, right? So I may question your ability to handle that information accordingly, right? So and if I've been there for 10 years, you know, you build sort of an ownership, you know, over the network, and it's your responsibility. And if I give you password and you leak it out, you know, to the hackers, now my network is compromised and it's my job on the line. You know, you're a supervisor, man. You're gonna cover your ass all the way through, you know. So
Obviously, somebody felt he was doing something wrong, or they wouldn't have asked him for the passwords.
well, you know, I think that they felt that he had too much control over the network, and he did.
Yeah.
You know, and he did. You know, so part of the deal is documentation. You know, at some point you need to document. This is part of professionalism. If I can speak about professionalism, right, in the workplace, you have to be professional in the workplace. You know, people. I'm telling you, I work for a nonprofit, and we, you know, similar to YERA, and we help people get jobs. But we don't just teach the technical, right? And we got some students here who've been through a similar program. Can you raise your hand? There's one there. There's another one over there. There's another one that's not here today that's been through a program similar to that where because check this out, we've done a research in the industry where we have found that employers don't always want to work with people who have too much experience because of that very reason. In the technical field, right? Because a lot of times, especially people who started working in computers, you know, 15, 20 years ago, you know, old school cats who, you know, they still have that geeky mentality, right? That geeky mentality, the beeper, you know, kind of guy, you know, with that looks down upon people because they don't know about technology. Did you ever see that show, the computer guy from Saturday Night Live?
Yeah.
You don't see that? Yeah. Where the guy goes, move, get out, you know. You guys are idiots. You don't know how to send a signal, you know, so you know. So, you know, I'm telling you, I know people like that who know quite a bit about computers, and they're cocky. They're cocky and they're disrespectful. And they're not professional, and they think that because they have all this technical knowledge, one should bow to them, you know, even though they are disrespectful and condescending. You know, and so I went from documentation to professionalism, but because it's part of it, right? You need to learn how to interact with people at the professional level as an IT professional. And professionals expect documentation. You know, it's all about documentation. I manage a team of 12 instructors, and in turn, my instructors manage, you know, 300 students at any given time. You know, so I oversee all of these people, and I cannot possibly know what is going on the ground unless they give me proper documentation. You know, if something happens in the classroom, I'm expecting them to document what happened. And I'm telling you, this is no regular college class. You know, we're asking people to dress in a certain way, to be here at a certain time, to, you know, keep their hygiene, don't wear hats in class, shine your shoes, you know, fix up your tie. Man, at Europe, they even teach them how to eat at the table.
Yeah.
You know, because you know, the IT field is moving that direction, where there's a lack of professionalism in the IT teams at times, right? And we're trying to change that. We're trying to change that perspective of IT guys. You know, we don't want to have the same reputation that car mechanics have, right? Car mechanics, they're thieves, right?
Yeah.
That's the I was a car mechanic for a long time. You know, 14 years, and I had to fight that reputation. You know, how do you fight a reputation that's been established by other people? Some people mess up, and then with one mistake that you make, you're a thief too. You know, and so it's difficult. It's the same thing with computers. You know, I hear that all the time. I have people who call me and ask me technical questions, and if they spend $150 at the computer shop, they're wondering whether they got taken to the cleaners or not, right? So I have to be careful, you know, when I go to people's homes or businesses to not throw the other guy under the bus, because what goes around comes around, right?
Yeah.
If maybe that guy made a mistake, you know, just fix it, move on, right? And try to make provisions for that mistake not to happen again.
That's why documentation comes in.
Right, so you
Whoever comes and works on it after, you can look and see what you already did to it.
So in the workplace, you may be required, you know, to keep documentation of the passwords, for example. You know, there should be a document somewhere, either electronic or on paper, in a safe place that's under lock and key, where only certain people have access to, you know, where a list of passwords exists. You know, and this is where I'm telling you, security right now is one of the topics of discussions, big time. You know, because how do you protect data? You know, if you put it on the computer, what if the computer physically gets stolen, right? Or what if somebody hacks your network? Or what if one of the users, you know, clicks on one of those funny links, or really believes that the prince from Nigeria left him $10 million, right? And then they type in their personal information, right?
That's kind of like a bunch of people have given hackers a bad name, you know. But
Right.
actually, ethical hacking is a good thing.
It's a good thing, right? You could be a hacker and work for the law enforcement,
Right.
and make, you know, hopefully, you know, a considerable amount of money. So that's basically the deal with that. So customer relations, right? How do you interact with customers? It's really important. You need to be able to gather information effectively from people. You know, speak to the customer in a way that the customer understands what you're trying to relate, without getting too technical. You know, sometimes because we know what a LAN or a WAN is, or HTTP or FTP or all the other terminologies we expect other people to know, and the fact of the matter is that some people simply don't know, right? Take computers, for example. People confuse a lot of times RAM capacity with hard disk drive capacity, right? And if I say to somebody might say to me, hey, I got this new computer, I will say, well, what you got in it? Oh man, I got 250 gigabytes of RAM. Oh, that's right? Because you can't possibly have that much RAM. So I know, you know, when I know that they don't know what they're talking about when they're saying that, but I can make it. I can figure out, right, what they're saying. But so I can't talk technical to somebody like that, right? I have to explain it to them in a language that they can understand, and you have to constantly see. Working in the IT field, you're not just working with people. You're not just working with computers or networks, right? You're not just responsible for fixing a network. You may be responsible for communicating with people. You know, being able to explain to people orally or in writing. Being able to explain it. Look. Sometimes and we're going to practice that in this class, you know, because you may be given a task at work, you know, and your job is going to be to put together a plan, a floor plan and make recommendations for computers and switches and hubs and type of cabling and lengths, right? You're going to have to work with the guy the builder, right? Who's creating the blueprint of the building or of the floor in order to make recommendations, and that person may not necessarily know what you know, you're gonna have to be able to communicate in writing, effectively, and make recommendations and explain why this problem is occurring in this fashion, or why you took the direction that you took in order to troubleshoot, diagnose, and fix the problem, right? Because how are you gonna justify spending $50,000 if you cannot explain why?
I have a question. Have you ever had the experience where you go to work on someone's computer and you fix whatever problem they had, and then the next time something goes wrong, they turn around and blame you because you're the last person that touched it?
Right.
How do you deal with that?
This reminds me, one time when I was working at Malugani Tires in Mill Valley, this guy came in because he had a flat tire. And I lifted the car up, I removed the tire, I did my thing, I fixed it, put it back in the car. A week later, he came back because his engine seized, and he was blaming me for it.
Thinking that while you're up underneath there, you undid the bolt.
I'm like, dude, I didn't even open the hood, man. So, it's really tough, and I think it has to do with trust. I make it a point to build trust with my customers, because when they trust you, then you don't have to explain yourself that much. You see, if I'm gonna work for people that don't trust me, I stop servicing people who don't trust me. Because it's happened to me. I go to somebody's business or home, reload the OS, clean it up because he had a big bed virus, right? And get everything up and running, put an antivirus, firewall, give them a good price and everything. And a month later, I get a call saying, hey, this computer is slow. What did you do to it? Did you access it remotely to do something? I'm done with you.
I've got customers trying to say that I switch parts on their computers.
Well, I've known guys who've done that, and that's not ethical. You don't want to do that, right? You build the trust by being dependable, right? By doing what you say you're gonna do, right? If you say you're gonna be there at a certain time, be there at a certain time. You see, if you say it's going to take this long to fix it, then you better stay in communication. If in fact it's going to take longer than that, right? So communication, be dependable, but building the trust. I don't like to work for an employer who doesn't trust me, and trust, you have to earn it. In most cases, very rarely an employer will give you the trust. Just give you the trust, but sometimes they will do that, and then if you screw up, you just lost it. Right? But most of the time, they're just not going to trust you from the get-go that much, right? I mean, they trusted you enough to hire you, but especially if you don't have that much experience in what you're doing, there's going to be a certain level of distrust, and you just have to deal with that. But you earn the trust by communicating effectively, being there on time, dressing accordingly, communicating with the customers in a professional manner, working, with your colleagues, accordingly, knowing when to escalate the problem, knowing when to say, this is more than I can handle. Let me bring my supervisor. Can you help me? I have this situation. I'm not sure what to do with it. Do you have any experience with it? And then you may end up working with your supervisor, or with your teammate, or whatever. But it's really important that if you're going to go into the IT field, that you learn what the expectation of the soft skills are. The soft skills, the people skills, the time management skills. Your ability to manage anger effectively, right? Because if you cannot manage anger effectively, if you're not patient, you may be in the wrong field, right? Seriously, because troubleshooting a problem requires patience and persistence, okay? Networks are complicated, and we can talk about all the theory in the world. You can have the best teachers in City College or the University of Santa Cruz teach you technology, networking, but when you're on the ground actually dealing with problems, the brightest minds will take long to figure complex problems out. you know. But it's through patience and persistence that you do it. You know. Managing stress, right? Professional attire. Right? I dress like this. I could wear flip-flops if I wanted to. Yes, in college, you know. But I dress like this because I want to reflect what the IT industry is looking for. You know, if I'm gonna go to a job interview, I'm gonna dress like this, wear a tie, wear a suit. You know, it's because I'm going to an IT job. You know, because it used to be, right, the geeky guy would wear jeans and tennis shoes and the beeper, right, and the thick glasses, right, black frame.
The white T-shirt.
With the white T-shirt with
Something printed across.
you know, I mean, you can't go to a job interview looking like that with flip-flops and a T-shirt, you know, with wording that is inappropriate. You know, the recruiters in the IT field are looking for how you come across. And I myself have had conversations with employers, and I have asked them directly, listen, what are you looking for in a new employee? What would make me an ideal candidate? Right? And you know, they have told me, listen, Isaias, bring me people that I can work with. I don't care if they know little about computers, because that I can teach them here. Bring me people that are willing to learn and willing to listen and take wisdom. Don't bring me somebody who, oh, this is how we did it, you know, back in the day, you know, and they want to do it their way, because their way is the best way. I want somebody that I can groom, that can follow my lead, you know. That's what they're looking for. And I'm like, so you mean that person can have little technical experience? Yes. As long as it's somebody that I can work with. So you need to take that into consideration. You know, the IT field is not just about technical terms and understanding these theories. It's about there's from my perspective, from my personal perspective, and from this perspective, I have built you know, what the organization that I work for is now in the area of training, right? There's 3 basic areas. That is the technical skills. So if I can, life skills and the professional skills. You need 3 different things. You need to work on these 3 different areas if you want to be successful in the IT field. All right. The life skills, you need time management. If you say you're going to be there at 3, be there at 2:45. Okay. Don't be there at 2:30. That's too early, and you may be, you know, pulling me out of another meeting or something, right? Disrupting me. Don't disrupt me. Be there 15 minutes before, maybe 10 at the most. All right. If you say you're going to do something within a time frame, you do that within that time frame. You organize your time effectively. You have a calendar that you work with on a regular basis, right? If you're a busy person, you make appointments. You make it. You do whatever you do to come through with what you say you're going to do within the time frame that you're gonna do it, right? You use technology to your advantage, right? So you use your phone, calendar, Outlook, computers, PDA, whatever you're going to use in order to manage your time effectively, right, Jose?
Exactly.
That's right. Well, you did a good job today. You were here on time.
I was on time. I'm managing.
All right. You need a professional attire. Right? How do you look? Look at yourself in the mirror. Right? How do you look to an employer? Right? If you had to interview, you know, and sometimes it's good to make it a habit. I had a hard time learning how to walk in these shoes. That could be interpreted in different ways. Huh?
You're walking hiding. Easy.
All right. Don't push it too far to the edge. So So in any case, it takes a while. If you've been wearing tennis shoes for a long time, or if you're accustomed to walk in a particular way, you have to make adjustments to, sometimes people wonder why they don't find a job. And I've seen people go through college, get bachelor's degrees, master's degrees in a field, and because they don't have the life skills and the professional skills, they only have the skills that they need, the core skills for that particular field, they have a hard time finding a job, right? I always recommend, here at City College, they teach communication courses and that you can take to learn, how to work in these particular areas. But this is part of chapter 1. This is why I'm talking about this. But it's really important that you dress accordingly. Take a shower every day. Groom, get a haircut, right? If you wear a beard, you fix it, all right? Or you shave it, because people sometimes they only wear a collar shirt when they're going to go to an interview, and because they never practice putting a tie on, you get a tie that's way up here. And especially if you have a big stomach, right? It's like a big stomach and the tie is like right. Or the tie is too long. The tie is too long, right? Iron the shirt, put some starch on the shirt, you do your thing, you clean it, clean it out. You make sure you have a suit, at least 2-3 suits that you can use, for occasions like that, and that you know how to use them. Shine your shoes. You shine your shoes. So professional attire is really important. How you look. Because if you're representing my company, I want you to look good, right? I want you to look good. I want you to reflect my philosophy for my company of professionalism. You may have to listen I'm telling you, out of experience, when you're working on computers and networks and stuff, although sometimes, depending on the environment that you work, you may have to wear work clothes, right? If you're running cable, if you're crawling underneath, vents and doing certain things, you may have to dress accordingly, right? You may have to wear the right boots and wear some jeans and, and wear a t-shirt. Hopefully that doesn't say nothing too, offensive. And then you start crawling underneath whatever to run cabling and to install computers and to do things, right? But a lot of times you're gonna find yourself interacting with people who are managing millions of dollars, And if I'm the CEO of a company and I'm gonna have you working on my system, and I'm going to trust you with $700,000 worth of money for that particular project, for that deployment, you better look good. You better convince me that you are somebody who understands the professional language. Okay? That's basically how it works. So, let's see, you're going to make sure that you manage your anger, because it is a fast-paced environment. It's a fast-paced environment. Because sometimes there's no time for thank yous and goodbyes, right? Just get the job done, get out, get the job done, do what you're gonna do, you're done, all right? So, or you're gonna have disagreements with people, right? No, I wanna run it like this because this and that, and then you're like, no, listen, if we run it like this, it's gonna be more cost effective and it's not gonna interfere with this lighting over here. And you're gonna have disagreements. No, let me configure it this way. No, let me configure it this other way. Let me create this password, scheme, and they might say, no, let's do it this way instead. There's always somebody who has a better idea, right? Or a different way. And you're gonna be under a lot of stress. It's a stressful job. It can be a stressful job. You're gonna have to make snap decisions. Yes, sir.
That's particularly important when you start doing tech support.
Exactly. So if you're doing tech support, you may be dealing with people who you already explained the same thing to them 20 times in different ways, and they're still making the same mistakes, right? And you're gonna have to work with that.
People feel
Well, people skills are part, we'll talk about that in a minute, but, anger management is part of people skills, If I can manage my anger, then I'm not going to explode, right? If you raise your voice at me, I'm going to manage that in a certain way so that it doesn't get out of control, right? I don't want to have a screaming match, and next thing you know, my job is on the line because somebody couldn't keep their cool.
You got a boxing match.
Right. So stress management. How do you manage your stress? You breathe,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? You take yourself out to the movies, you go for a walk on the beach. You have a hobby. Having a hobby. This is why in jobs they'll ask you, what is your hobby? What do you do for a hobby? Because I want to know how you manage stress. I don't want you working next to me if you're stressed out all the time, because I don't want to see the faces. I don't want to hear the, I don't want to hear it. Right, exactly. I don't want to, because especially I'm perceptive, and if I'm working next to you and you're like, there's just like, really, So how do you manage your stress, You might want to think about that, because when you go to an interview, you're going to be asked these questions. How do you, can you tell me a time, for example, right, I'll ask you this question. Can you tell me a time when you find yourself, working in teams and you had a disagreement with a coworker, how you handle that situation, right? They're asking you because they want to know how you manage anger and how you manage stress, right? So what is your hobby? How do you, what do you do in your off time, right? I listen to music, I go for a walk in the park, I go bowling, for example, that's a good stress reliever, right? Play pool, or you do things, right? This is why they ask you. They're not asking you just for asking you. They want to know if you are a well-rounded individual. Let's see, time management versus tire, anger management, stress management. I'm missing a few in life skills. But part of life skills, there's a book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Stephen Covey.
And Stephen Covey, Dr. Covey, talks about a few things. So proactivity is one of the habits of highly effective people. Don't wait for people to tell you go do something. You get to go do something. Okay, you go do something. Be proactive. Don't wait for somebody to tell you you need to do your homework. You are proactive. You sit down and you do it. Right? Don't wait for somebody to tell you here's a job lead over there. You go and you look for the job leads. All right. Don't wait for somebody to tell you take this class. You go and you find out which class you need to take and you execute. Right? You're proactive. You're not reactive. You take it easy. You examine the situation, evaluate it, and then execute. Right? That's how you do it.
7 habits of what?
Highly effective people. Sorry about my spelling. So proactivity is one of them. What's another one? Start with the end in mind. Every day when you get up, you start with the end in mind. So what is the end? The end is whatever reason you're here. You're here because you want to get an AES degree in CNIT, then that's your end in mind. So every day when you get up, that's your motivator. You want to go to a 4-year college institution, that's your end in mind. You want to get a job in the IT industry, then you get up every day and you here, 9:30, Mondays and Wednesdays, and you study, you do your thing, right? You start every day with the end in mind. When you focus on that end and you execute, and then that way you stay more motivated. What's the other one? Anybody knows it?
Synergize is one.
Well, synergize is toward the end. That's the 7th, right? So synergy is one of them. Let's see, and I should know this.
Yeah.
I know them, I just can't think about them right now. But another one is seek first to understand and then to be understood, right? So if I have a disagreement with you, let me hear you out, right? What is your concern? Why are you upset? Go ahead, talk to me. I'll let you talk.
Win-win. Win-win is one.
Right, so seek win-win, right? So if I'm gonna interact with you, I'm not gonna try to take you to the cleaners, but don't take me to the cleaners either, right? We're going to work on creating a win-win situation, right? How do we create a win-win situation where you're benefited from our dealings and I'm benefited from our dealings? What's another one? You know, part of the deal here is also being able to take care of yourself. You know, have a good diet, right? Exercise once or twice a week at least, right? Get plenty of sleep, plenty of rest. Take care of yourself. All right. Don't do drugs. Don't do drugs. Don't drink too much alcohol. Take care of yourself. So that's part of life skills. You know, are you a well-rounded individual? Do you have life skills? Professional skills have to do with how you interact in the professional environment. So, can you write a resume? Do you have a resume? If you don't have a resume, you need to start working on that. You know, a resume that fits the information technology field, if in fact that's where you're going to be looking for work. I'm going to say, let's call it an elevator pitch, otherwise known as the 30-second commercial. Can you present yourself? If I say to you, tell me about yourself, can you tell me about yourself in 30 seconds or less? Your career, right? Don't start from the beginning. When I was a child,
Elevator pitch.
when I was born, yeah, I had to walk uphill both ways in the snow. We don't want to hear that, right? That's
really quiet. You didn't get along with it.
right. Can you present yourself? Part of professional skills is also professional attire, right? Professional attire is also part of professional skills. Job search skills, interviewing skills.
What does that say right above job skills?
Elevator pitch. So can you interview? Can you know, those are areas that you need to work on. Can you work in teams? Are you a team player? Can you work in teams? Can I, you know, because some people sometimes say, oh no, I work better by myself. I mean, listen, if I'm your manager, I don't want to hear that. Okay, don't tell me that. Because what you just told me is that I can only use you for certain things, right? So your opportunities of advancing within my social circle or my circle of professionalism just diminished. Yeah, just diminished. I need you to work alone, but also be able to work in teams.
Leadership could be one of the skills.
One of the skills could be leadership, right? Can you take lead, right? If I say, listen, you're gonna lead this team, you know, and I want you to do this and this and this job, these are the objectives, boom, go do it. You know, can you take on that lead? Can you say, okay, can you organize? It's okay, you go do this, you go do that, and or let's coordinate how we can make this happen.
I was kind of off base question, but with the resume thing, what, like when they say, you know, to like, hey, could tell us about yourself, like, what if the person was like incarcerated, but when they're incarcerated, they kind of learn the trade when they're in prison? How would they go about putting that on because like me, like, for example, I just got out, I've been in for about 3 years, I was in San Quentin, and then I took a trade when I was in there.
Okay.
And like, how would I go about putting on the paperwork?
Right. What's your name?
Thomas.
Thomas. You know, there are different types of resumes. There are resumes where, and you might want to look into that, all right? There are chronological resumes, there are functional resumes, and there are other types of resumes. My point is that there are different kinds of resumes, and what you might want to do is stick with a functional resume. In a functional resume, you only describe your skills, not necessarily where you got it. Okay? That can come later. That can come in the interview. Okay? So you look for a type of resume where you have all your information, contact information and everything, and then you outline personal skills or, you know, qualifications, and you outline, you know, team player, this and that.
Yeah,
hold on, professional qualifications, and then you outline, you know, I know how to do this, I know how to work with computers on this in this area, and this in this area. You're not outlining where you got it.
Oh,
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Right? So you're only outlining, you're only presenting, these are my skills, you know, my functional resume, this is what I can do.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not gonna say, oh, I was in prison.
You're not saying, right, you're not saying I went to, you know, I learned this in San Quentin. You don't say that, right? So you have to work with your man, how do they call it? How do they call it people who have
Probation.
rehabilitation, you know,
Yeah.
people, you know,
The rehabilitation skills.
right, who bring you back into society. They would know, you know, how to help you with that. But you wanna, you know, you look for ways. You become creative. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right? Because maybe I don't have that much experience. You know, maybe it could be somebody else who you know, young, maybe don't have. You can. People can see you that you don't have that much experience right off the bat. Right? You create a functional resume where you say, "This is what I can do." You're not even saying how long you've been doing it. Right? You're just saying, "This is what I can do."
Yeah, I understand.
Right? So that was a good question.
Thank you.
Any other comment? Yes.
I looked up the 7 habits, you wanna know?
Uh-huh.
Should I say them? All right.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
All right, habit 1 is be proactive. Habit 2 is begin with the end in mind. Habit 3 is put first things first. Habit 4 is think win-win. Habit 5 is seek first to understand, then to be understood. Habit 6 is synergize, and habit 7 is sharpen the saw.
Sharpen the saw, right? So the two with the sharpen the saw is the one about the health, right? Take care of yourself. Make sure, sometimes, you know, and he puts the analogy that you're sawing something and it's just not cutting because you need to remove that saw, you need to sharpen it, clean it up, you know, then you can go back and you can sharpen the saw. So take a vacation, basically, you know, take care of yourself. And then the other one was...
seek to understand, then to be
No, the third one. The third one was put first things first. That has to do with priority. What is most important for me in my life? Right? And you prioritize based on that. I know that monitor is not on, right? You're not taking notes on the computer. So that's basically the, and then your technical skills, right? If you're in IT, then you know hardware, software, networking, security, printers, laptops, mobile devices, professionalism in the IT world. So from my perspective, right, and anyone can argue this, I welcome comments or whatever, even on YouTube. From my perspective, an IT individual needs to be a well-rounded individual in these 3 areas. Yes. There is a lot, depending on who you are, you may have a lot to work on this, maybe a lot to work on this, maybe a lot to work on this, maybe a little to work on this, a little to work on that, a lot to work on this. Maybe this comes easy for you, but you're having problems with the professional area. You just need to pay attention to it, figure out where you can make adjustments, and execute it, right?
Right under software?
Networking, security, printers, and laptops.
Under software.
Under software, networking.
Networking?
Yeah, that's what I do.
I look like N.
I'm sorry. I'm running too fast. So this would be your technical skills, professional skills, life skills. If you compare the 3 of them, the technical skills are about this huge, a list. The personal skills about the life skills about that much, and the professional skills about that much. But the importance is equally the same, right?
I'm sure if you learn to speak on a professional level, make sure you always are nice to the secretaries and receptionists. You get on their good side, you get in a lot further.
Exactly. Yeah, a lot of times, you have to be persuasive. You have to, that's one of the characteristics of a good leader, right? You know where you have influence, and you use that influence to persuade. effectively. You know, you strategize that influence to persuade effectively. So that would be a strategy. Definitely. So why should we certify? If I can move away from this. This is part of the technical. Any more questions or comments on this topic? No? And you might think, man, that has nothing to do with networking. The fact of the matter is that it does, right? If you want to go into the IT, you may have to take everything that we just talked about into consideration. Okay, and good luck with that. So certification, why should we certify? You know, back in the day, it didn't matter. There wasn't any certifications, right? I mean, 15 years ago or so, if you knew how to do the job, then you prove that you can do it, and then you go, right? But that has proven to be, you know, rather difficult to manage, because there's a lot of new people coming into the industry, you know, that are trying to get into the IT field. You know, the IT field is expected to grow by 400% in the next 40 years. And you have seen, you know, hospitals now, they have computers, you know, everything is computerized. That's why we are developing health IT nowadays, health IT certifications. Airports are all computerized. And I went to Oakland Airport the other day, and it's not what it used to be, you know, 5 years ago. I mean, it's just amazing. Everything is so computerized. Airplanes they can pretty much fly by themselves. You know, they fly autopilot all by themselves. That's why pilots be drinking and stuff.
Pilot will be obsolete.
Salud. You know, seriously. But everything is computerized. I mean, look at our records. You know, we keep records. Companies keep databases online or on computer systems, on servers, all over the place. There are computers all over the place. So the industry is growing, and the amount of people who's going into the industry is also growing, right? There's supposedly right now, according to numbers that I received about 3 weeks ago, 135,000 IT-related jobs in the United States alone. Right? 135,000 jobs. So there is quite a bit of work, you know, out there right now. But you have to be sharp. You have to stay on top of your game. And having a certification in the field will definitely help you get that job. You know, if you go online to look for jobs right now, you're gonna see that they're looking for certifications such as A+. If you wanna be a computer tech, you know, a computer technician job, you have to have the A+ certificate. A lot of jobs, they will not give you the job unless you have the A+ certificate. CompTIA, A+ certificate.
What about a degree instead of a certification?
You know, you know, my argument is that if you have a college degree and certifications, your chances of getting a job are really high. So if you're competing, you know, against a whole bunch of A+ certified people that are applying for that job, and you have the college degree, you're more likely to get the job, right? If I'm looking at a resume, and I do sometimes, because people apply for teaching positions and stuff, right? Or other positions at my organization where I work, I'm looking for their educational background and their certifications. I've had people who have, you know, computer science degrees and no certifications. And their argument is, well, I don't need one. I'm a computer science master. I'm like, listen, you need the certification. Well, I don't know. Listen, go take it. No, I don't want to take it. Why not? I mean, if you're a computer science, you should breeze right through that certification, right?
They forgot everything.
4 years of college, right? They don't know anything. So you need to have the certification. certification. That's the bottom line. And a lot of jobs, they're not even looking for college education. They're looking for the certification. Can you do it? Can you do it? I may not be looking for somebody, a critical thinker to perform managerial job. I'm looking for somebody who can take a network apart, run cable neatly, connect it, you know, and do his or her thing. Right?
How long are these certifications good for, the Net Plus and the A Plus?
That's a very good question. As of January 1st of 2011, they're good for 3 years. So if you got the certification before that, then it's a lifetime certification.
Lifetime.
Really?
Oh.
Wow.
But that may change in the future, you know, because these certifications have to be renewed.
Yeah.
Eventually, they're probably gonna say, listen, you know, if you got your certification 10 years ago, you need to renew it, or 6 years ago, you need to renew it, so that you're up to date with technology.
Yeah.
That's because technology is constantly changing, right?
Exactly. So again, you know, I think I showed you this the other day, but if you go apply for a job, you know, you get your certification. These are my certifications, for example, right? This is my A+ certification. If I go apply for a job and they ask me for A+, I have no, actually now they're giving these little red ones. They're more.
I was gonna say, it looks really fancy.
Yeah, but you know what? It's special paper. It doesn't, see?
Right.
It doesn't get ruined. But this is my A+ certificate. This is my Network Plus certificate, for example.
Do they give you an actual like big record thing too? Or
Well, they give you a little certificate, but it's made out of paper that you can buy at 99-cent store. In fact, this is more valuable, durable. What's that?
Like, what happens if those little cards get lost or ruined? It seems like it'd be easy to.
Right. This is my Network Plus, the new, because they changed the certification. So I got both the old and the new certification. Well, you know, when you take the exam, they give you a printout. When you pass the exam, and in that printout, there's information on how to log into your record.
Okay.
So if I lose the card, I can always go to CompTIA.org, log in as a test taker, right, with my information, and I can print out information about my certification.
Okay.
Right? So I make it a point to have, you know, I have a folder with all my records in there. So even if I lose this card, I can still use that as a backup to say, listen, I have these industry certifications. So you need these certifications. The A+ exam, is 2 exams. It's the 220-701 and the 220-702 exams. And each one of them is 100 questions each. You need to pass both exams to get the certification. The Network Plus is assigned the number 10.004, or I think it's JK016 is the other designation. It's gonna be depending on who you're talking to. Maybe this or it may be that. It's the same thing. And it's 100 question exam. And it's just one exam. You take one exam, you get the Network Plus certificate. Okay?
You said it was CompTIA.org?
CompTIA.org. CompTIA.org.
CompTIA.
The Security Plus, I think it's 85 questions. If you're gonna take Microsoft certifications, so because Microsoft have their own certifications, right? You can get MCTS or MCITP, if I'm not mistaken. These are for either desktop or server types of certifications. You can get MCSE, MCSA certifications, right? So Microsoft Certified Systems Engineer, you have to take about 7 or 9 exams in different areas to get an MCSE, all right? Anywhere from server exams, you know, Microsoft operating system exams, and just different areas and different aspects of Microsoft products. MCSA is Microsoft Certified Systems Administrator. I think you take 5 exams, mostly related to server. server operating systems, Microsoft. But with this certification right here, you can be making a good chunk of change.
So, what you're saying is that an employer would take a certification more seriously than a degree?
I wouldn't say that, but depending on the employer, they may be looking for the certification more so than the degree.
Okay.
Because it varies. I've seen job descriptions where it says that you're required to have a bachelor's degree, and in addition to bachelor's degree certifications, right?
Okay.
There are other jobs where they're looking for a college degree related to the field, and the majority of jobs are going to be looking for certifications.
Okay. But it's best to have both.
It's best to have both. I'm pretty wanted right now in the field, because I have a college degree and I have a whole bunch of certifications. I put my resume out there. I get phone calls all the time.
I found you a lot of jobs the other day when you were doing the assignment.
You found me a lot of
Yeah,
jobs.
I was thinking of you. I was like,
Yeah,
I'm not going to tell them.
Exactly. I get job leads, on a regular basis in my inbox, and what I do is I forward them to the people that I work with who help students get jobs. And I say, here, I just got a job lead yesterday morning about a job making $24 an hour, replacing servers in Northern California. Guaranteed 4 hours a day, every day at the very minimum. But I can't take that job. It's a part-time job. I have 2 jobs. So I forward it to somebody else. Go apply for this job.
So how would you recommend dividing up your time between pursuing certifications and pursuing degrees?
Right. So you take classes that are that pertain to the certification. So this class, all the topics that we cover here have to do with this certification right here.
Okay, and also counts towards our AS.
And right, then counts as your associate's degree. So what we're developing right now, the CNIT department, we're having conversations and we're making plans. We're trying to get, we just wrote a grant that didn't go through, so we're trying to write a different grant to get some money to put together a program that maybe some workshops at the end of the semester, where, or during the summer break, where we can get students who've taken these classes together and prepare them to go take the test. Let's do an exam cram session, right? 2 weeks of intense exam cram and go take the test. And then we're trying to create a wall on our website where we plug in your names. This student network class certified, this student A class certified. Because it is really important right now. The certifications are of utmost importance.
Is this one class that we're in right now good enough to pass the network class, or do we have to take other classes?
No, this class should be enough to cover most of the fundamental aspects of the network class. But this is why you test prep, because we don't have time to cover each and every detail of the exam, right? If you go to CompTIA.org or Microsoft, you can download the objectives. You need to look for the objectives. And you know what? I'm going to make them available online on the inside for you for the network class. But you should look for the other objectives, because what you do is at the end of the session or while you're learning, you can use the list of objectives to say, okay, I already covered this.
Okay.
Boom, a checklist, right? It helps as a checklist. But there's so many objectives that it's almost impossible. This book doesn't cover all of the objectives. And the writer can argue that, but I can guarantee you, based on experience, that you may see questions in the exam that are neither here or we haven't covered in class, in lessons. So this is why you want to test prep, right? This is why we want to put together the cram session, if you will, so that we can cover those angles that we couldn't cover in class, or that are not covered in the book.
How's it looking?
I don't know. Well, it's on their side of the court right now. The ball is on their side of the court. They need to come up with the money to make it happen. And it's not cheap. Just the software alone to get you test prepping is like $4,000. Plus paying the instructors, overhead.
And what percentage do you usually need to get correct? Because I have the CompTIA A+ book, and it's huge. It has all the objectives. It's all highlighted. It's like 4 times the size of the Bible.
I wouldn't say that, but
How much do you get? Like, what percentage is passed?
the different exams are different specs, but I think one is 75% and the other one is 80%. Yeah. And the same thing with the network class is more forgiving. I think it's 70%.
Okay.
Yeah, 72%. You have to get 72 questions right. Yeah, to pass. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have a pretty high passing rate, where I work, because we have a good test preparation program, right? And we have outlined it in a certain way. But I'm telling you, you might be able to start working in the field if you have the certifications, and then you have Cisco certifications, right?
Yeah.
You have the CCNA, which is the entry level. Does this outline it?
Yeah, a little bit.
CCNA, CCIE.
CCNA, CCIE. There are other certifications. This is only outlining two of them.
And that's it.
That's it. But there's a different career path. This is where you really need to give it some thought, right, as to what it is that you want to do. So ideally, what you want to do, am I still within range? Yeah. Is you want to get your A+ first, and then you get your, depending on where you want to go, right? If you want to go Microsoft, you go MCTS, and then maybe MCSA, and then maybe MCSE. So that this is your career path, right? You plan it. And then if you want to go into networking, you go Network Plus, CCNA, you see, right? CCIE, CCNP, right? And so on and so forth. It all depends on which direction, right? Right. Now, if you just want to be, desktop support, this would be it, right? If you want to be a desktop support person, or if you just want to be a computer technician, then this is all you need, right? Because these certifications, they're recognized all over the world. There was a case in Africa, I can't remember the name of the country, but they had sent a guy from a university from here to Africa to work on the country's network over there. And you know how some of the countries in Africa are really tense because wars and going on and stuff like that. So the guy, the dictator of the country, kicked the guy out of the country because the guy didn't have an A+ certificate. Whoa. And he said, "You're not coming into this country working on my network, without an A+ certificate." This was on the news and everything. And the guy is a major computer science degree, and he wouldn't allow it. But he's a dictator, he can do that. But that's the thing, the thing is that you questions or comments? Yes?
What about certifications for programming and like computer science, like software engineering? Do they have certifications for that, like C++?
Yeah, they do. There's another, because these certifications are issued by Microsoft. All the Plus are CompTIA. So CompTIA has Network Plus, Security Plus, right? So if you want to do security, you might want to go from here to Security Plus, right? You see that? You go A+, Network Plus, Security Plus. That's the path. That's the recommended path, right? They have Server Plus. So you could go A+, Server Plus, right? So there's different paths that you can take. There is a Health IT nowadays. There's a Health IT certification. Even for instructors, there's a CTT Plus, Certified Technical Trainer Plus,
So they have certifications for just about everything.
For a lot of areas, right? So, I want to tell you about Certiport. Certiport certifies for Microsoft Office. So if you wanna become an expert, in Office, Word, Microsoft Word, Excel, Access, PowerPoint, and so on and so forth, you get a certification from Circuit Board for a Microsoft application, which is different to these certifications, right? Because these are more the technical, right? These are more administrative, right? There's IC3, which is Internet Core. You have to take 3 exams to get that one, and this is Computer Fundamentals, or Computer Literacy Basics, CLB, Computer Literacy Basics. There's an Adobe certification that you can get from these guys also. You know, so you become, you know, an expert with the different Adobe applications, Flash, Reader, Acrobat Reader, right? All of those applications, and then you can be more specific about the area. But this is more administrative. This is not technical in the same sense that these certifications are.
Are there fees with all these certifications?
Yes, sir. Good question. Thank you. Thank you for bringing that up.
No, I just want to know.
Yes, yes. You know, if you go on your own to buy the vouchers, you buy vouchers. There are two. Well, there are 2 main certifying entities. One is Prometric, then the other one is Person View. I think you can look at it later. It's Prometric and Person View. They are the certifying bodies for these certifications, CompTIA. Also, these certifications right here, okay? And some of these certifications may only be offered by one of those entities, maybe Person View, as well as some of the Cisco certifications, okay? If you do it through Person View. And yes, some of the Cisco certifications are kick-ass. You know, you need to do some labs. You know, like if you're taking 201E, for example, when you get to the middle of 201E, you're gonna start configuring routers and switches. You know, part of the exams are doing, you know, virtual configuration of switches and making sure that they work. When you go to higher Cisco certifications, they actually give you a whole bunch of cables and routers and switches, and you have to create the cables, you have to do the connections, and then you have to do the configuration, log into the networks, and you only have so much time. And it costs $1,000 or $1,500 to take that exam. Some of the exams are 2 days long, right? Up in the Cisco, but these cats are making 125 grand a year or more with that kind of certification. You know, and you should be considering also, you know, if you don't have a family to hold you back, being flexible to travel, because some of these jobs you're gonna be offered jobs in Spain, Brazil, you know, Mexico, Japan, China, India. You know, you could be. I'm telling you, man, technology can take you places. Yeah, I just went to Washington. Technology took me there. Yeah. You know, and next year I'm going to Vegas. Technology is taking me to Vegas. I'm serious. So this is really important that we take into consideration. Okay? Any questions or comments before we wrap it up?